Hey, kids, you're listening to A Couple of Annoyed Grump Boys, and this is the 138th Simpsons podcast. That's right, we're the Simpsons podcast that discusses The Simpsons from seasons 11 and beyond, and the newest ones when they air. Why do we do it this way? Well, plenty of other podcasts have discussed the golden age, that being seasons 1 through 10, so we're testifying to see if any other episodes can match those golden age episodes. And I say we because I'm not just one person. No, I am one person. I'm one host, a half-a host. Oh, we don't use that term anymore. I'm one annoyed grump boy named Craig. With me, as always, is the other annoyed grump boy,
Steve!
I guess I was doing a little sing-songy.
It's okay. I mean, you're only half a host, half a person. Or are you multiple people? I don't even know anymore.
You know, it's funny. We say the same thing like every week. Like we could just record the same intro once and just pop it into every episode, but we still say the same stuff every week.
Yeah, it's the same thing every week after week.
Remember when we first started the podcast and, had it written out and it would take us a couple of takes just to do the introduction?
Right. And now, I can do it without even thinking. I don't even think about the words that I'm saying. They just come out.
I think that's why I was doing sing-songy.
Yeah, it's something different.
Look, after 301 episodes, you hope we could remember something.
That's right, Carl.
Hey, I'm Lenny.
Oh, that's right. Lift up my hand.
It just says, Craig, Lenny, me, Black. Look, we are recording this in November.
Mm-hmm.
We have to follow up from last week's intro discussion about the Simpsons man on Instagram talking about annual Halloween contests. And we only done the first day's votes. We didn't even get to see the following day's costume submissions, and there was a lot of great ones out there too. We missed some of them discussion, but as of this we're recording it. I think the finals is coming out maybe tomorrow, which will be Tuesday the 19th, maybe Wednesday. So we're still behind. We won't know the winner until next week's episode. But we have 4 contestants, Steve. So there's 4, and just pick your favorite and who you think hopes to win. The first we got is Maud Flanders' death scene, and the person that put it up there is at kristengunn.art, and screen accurate Maud costume. But the fun part is she designed the t-shirts and the hot dogs and soda cans or soda pops, so when she moves backwards it looks like she's being hit by the death items when she falls off. So very creative. Then the next one we got here is from at Eliza Hepburn 3, who did the Quimby bumper stickers all over Millhouse in the shopping cart. Another great one. And then at Emily Hall _illustration was the great donut feeding devil.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, we have at SBomb89, who did the Don Madden League shaving the sideburns. So those are our 4 finalists, I believe.
Yes.
Steve, out of those 4, who are you going to vote for?
Okay, see, these are all 4 very great. I like Mattingly a lot, although I think he could have committed to the bit and actually shaved his head and got rid of those damn sideburns. The Devil Demon is wonderful. It's very well designed. However, Emily Hall, we've seen her in the past. She did the Gremlin on the side of the bus one year, and she was also Homer and Mr. Burns, who are sharing a shoulder. So she's won before, but I do like her creativity.
Could we say that the Emily Hall is kind of the Meryl Streep of Simpsons costumes?
Oh, yeah. I think that's very apt. I think that's very appropriate. Yes.
No, could you say it?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Emily Hall is the Meryl Streep of Simpsons costumes. The Quimby sticker, very nice. I like the commitment of the yellow skin and the shopping cart. But I do think that for me, the winner has to be the Maud Flanders. The creativity of it, and just the footlongs in the air, and just the ingenuity of that is really great. What are your thoughts, Craig?
I'm going to have to do a 100% agree with you. I think at kristengunn.art, it's just fun and it's something I haven't seen yet. So kudos to that one. That's what I'm hoping wins. And we won't know until next week, Steve? Are you going to be waiting with bated breath?
Indeed, I will be. And I just want to say that to all the entrants, great job. I love the creativity. And to Simpsons Man, kudos to you as well for the hard work. I know you had some difficulty with the voting and like the whole process, but I think it's great. It's something that we look forward to every year, and it's always exciting to see. So yeah.
Can I just give a shout out to one of my favorite ones that didn't win was at Wonka Bar Zero doing the Ooter and the running. It just has made me laugh watching him being Ooter.
Yeah, that was really good. The acting was great in that one. And I think I need to give my honorable mention to at Assel Ridge. Assel D Ridge. I'm going to screw that up. But the Donut Head Homer I thought was very creative, and I thought that was very good. So that's my honorable mention.
And hey, let's not forget the kids, Steve, at Miss Sandy R.A. for winning the kids costume contest. She's won multiple times, but the Bart the Raven and Marge as Lenore.
Very good.
Very creative stuff. Yep. All right, Steve. We promise our listeners next week, no more Halloween talk. But since we are doing like a past episode, it's going to be weird that people are just watching what we're going to talk about and then, it'll be out of context. So let's just get on with this week's episode and go back to the year of May 9th, 2010. May the 9th be with you, Steve.
Indeed.
Mother's Day was probably happening that week, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, all right. Was your mom alive or was she dead in 2010?
She was dead. Actually, this would be the first Mother's Day without her.
Ah, happy Mother's Day, Steve.
Thank you, Craig.
So you probably were getting your mind off of your recently deceased mother by going to the movies. Steve, what did you see?
Well, Craig, of course. It's Ozzy Osbourne's favorite superhero, Iron Man 2.
He doesn't like Iron Man 1, just Iron Man 2.
He thought the politics were a little dicey.
Back a long time ago, we used to talk about Marvel movies because you never saw them. Surely, Steve, you've seen Iron Man 2 by now.
I mean, actually, that one I saw
okay.
a long time ago, probably 10 years ago, and then I don't remember it. But yeah, I did see that one.
Because you've probably started watching the first couple Marvel movies, like the MCU.
It's when they started coming out in quick succession, and for a year, I was just like, this is too much, I need to stop.
Right. Which I think, at the day, talk a little Marvel here, the golden age probably be in these first couple, phase 1 and phase 2. I guess it's the first 3 phases, right? And then after Avengers Endgame, it's been kind of iffy, right? Did you ever watch the most recent one, Deadpool meets Wolverine?
I mean to, because I have seen the other 2 Deadpools and I enjoyed them, so it is on my list, probably watching it this week.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus as we speak.
Very nice.
All right. Well, Steve, you weren't watching Iron Man 2, but you surely were listening to the Billboard Hot 100 thinking of your mother.
Of course, and I thought, well, I'm a person, but I got nothing on you, because the number 1 song on the Billboard Hot 100 is Nothing on You by Bob, featuring Bruno Mars.
Surely, Steve, you were sad because this was the first Mother's Day without your mother, and I was probably teasing you about it. I'm like, I should be reading between those lines, Steve.
Yeah, context clues, man.
Yeah. But you were maybe flying a plane.
Yeah, so I was getting high, I was flying a plane, and I went to a religious place.
Right. You were high, exactly, yeah. So, what does that mean?
So, the number 1 song on the Hot Alternative was Between the Lines by Stone Temple Pilots.
And our country song, were you with your wife at the time?
Not yet.
Okay, so you were probably at a party, you saw her across the room, and you said to your friend Joel, or your friend Nichols. And what'd you say about Laura?
I was like, give me that girl.
That's right, the Country Hot 100 was Give Me That Girl by Joe Nichols.
But, before we got together,
yeah,
they warned me that, she could be dangerous. She might hurt you.
Oh, but you were talking to Ted Cruz's brother?
Yeah, Tayo.
Yeah, who's kind of with his other friend, Crazy's brother?
Yes. Ludicrous.
Right. So you just didn't want Laura to Break Your Heart by Teo Cruz featuring Ludacris. Okay. It's much more fun, I think, doing the movies and songs bit. We don't play the songs anymore.
Yeah, it's better.
This segment is only for you and I because we're the ones who laugh at it, probably.
Yeah, but it's fun.
All right. It's fun for us. It warms us up for our comedy chops to be somewhat funny on this episode.
That's right.
Can we promise hog talk?
I mean, I think it's going to happen no matter what.
But no political talk.
Never, ever.
All right, Steve, we're talking about Mo Letter Blues, Homer, Apu, and Reverend Lovejoy take a day trip with the kids on Mother's Day so their wives can have a day to themselves. But 3 of them receive a message from Mo saying that he's leaving Springfield with one of their wives. Do you think Mo accidentally wrote wives incorrectly and meant to write knives?
Yeah, because having 2 knives sounds pretty great.
Yeah, it's better than having 2 wives.
Yeah.
All right. Steve, calm down. We're going to take a break, regroup, and come back.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll be right back. And we're back. Today we're talking about Mo Letter Blues. It's the 21st episode of the 21st season. It's episode 462 in each show's run. Original air date, May 9th, 2010. The nerd code is MABF13. Written by Stephanie Gillis. Directed by Matt Nastuk. Showrunner, Al Jean.
Alrighty, Stephanie Gillis, American television writer. She's written for The Simpsons. She's written 11 episodes. She lives with her husband in L.A., some guy named Al. She went to Barnard College.
Kind of makes you think she wrote this episode and it's about potential women leaving their husbands.
That's a good point. She wrote See Homer Run, which was our 179th episode. The Birds and the Bees, our 246th episode. Once Upon a Time in Springfield, episode 175. This one, Replaceable You, and Homerland. And we have yet to review Midnight Toyboy, Tree Girls of Springfield, Treehouse of Horror 25, Lisa with an S, and the season premiere of season 30, Bart's Not Dead.
Wow. Bart is not dead as of this record. You're correct.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. 11 episodes. And this is our 6th. We could finish her off, Steve.
I don't think we have to kill her.
I meant her episodes that she has penned.
Oh, of course. And then we can kill her.
No, Steve, we're not a killing podcast.
Not yet.
And our podcast is definitely not killing it.
No.
We'll see how long this podcast lasts, Steve. We'll see.
I mean, most things probably won't last very long soon, so.
Right. Because of aliens?
Probably, yeah. The aliens that are in the water, not in the sky, because octopi, or octopuses more appropriately, are gonna, take over the world.
And haven't you heard that the Bermuda Triangle is actually, there's like the alien space station, or I guess water station under there, and that's why the aliens will operate there.
That makes sense.
I might as well just start believing every crackpot theory, because what matters anymore?
Yeah, I mean, we're all...
something.
Yeah, we're all...
Simpsons fans, Steve. Simpsons fans.
That's right.
Steve and I are just kind of upset because there's only 4 more years left in this country of, let me finish, Steve, of the Simpsons land being in Universal since the contract's done in 2028.
That's true, yeah.
We only have 4 more years, Steve, of the Simpsons land in Universal.
Then it'll truly be a sad day in this country.
Exactly. Speaking of the Simpsons, Steve, let's just get on to the episode. We got a title screen, and then Bumblebee Man flies across the screen. That's fun.
Yeah, it's nice and clean, super simple.
Probably got on his way to fuck a flower.
As is my understanding, yes. Or a bird.
That's it. It's an orgy, right? A threesome, flower, bird, bumblebee.
Man, woman, camera. Yeah.
Okay, that needs to be like a comic book, like the bumblebee and flower and bird.
I'd read that.
There's Hawkman, right?
Yeah.
There is like a DC Comics character named Bumblebee, but I think she's a teen.
Mm-hmm.
That might be bad for Hawkman, who's an adult male.
Maybe he can just fuck that car that is a Transformer.
Okay. Well, do the transfer. It's more recognizable, right? Transformer.
It's a Marvel property in the 80s.
Yeah. So who's the Birdman in the Marvel universe? Vulture.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So we got this bald old dude and a car.
And a car.
So who's Flower?
There is if we're going to keep in the Spider-Man universe, there's a villain called the Rose.
I was also going to say Mary Jane is a term for marijuana. Marijuana is a plant that has a flower.
That's true, yeah. And she's a better character than the Rose, because Rose is just a mobster who wears a purple face mask and a white suit for some reason.
But the problem is we're using two Spider-Man characters. Bumblebee is not a Spider-Man character.
That's true.
All right. Steve, if you know anyone in Marvel, have them create a new Spider-Man villain or anti-hero named the Bumblebee Man, and they can work it from there.
Yeah. I'm just going to double check, make sure there isn't like the Bumblebee, because there is like there's a tarantula character.
Well, that's a tarantula, Steve.
I know, but like there's other bugs.
Far from being a bee.
There's a lot of footage on the internet of Spider-Man and Bumblebee hanging out.
Is this one of those sites where Lisa and Bart are hanging out naked as well?
Yeah, but also, yeah.
Why is it your homepage? Usually it's like Google where Bing is people's homepages, but that's your homepage.
I mean, you get the information that you need to get, so I think it works. Interesting. Anyway, we also have a billboard gag which features a picture of Bart with the text, "Please abduct this child. Call Homer."
Assuming that everyone in Springfield knows who Homer is.
Exactly. And that they want, your child to be abducted.
Chalkboard gag, Steve, eating my vegetables is not a Mother's Day present. All right, so let's look at this over. I guess this is kind of like Krabappel, a little too harsh here. So they're probably all making like these Mother's Day gifts in class, arts and crafts, and Bart's just not doing anything. And he's like, yeah, I'm just going to eat my vegetables for my mom. And she's like, no, you're not. You get detention. Like, it's kind of a harsh punishment, right?
Yeah, and it kind of goes beyond her jurisdiction as a teacher, because she has no say in what Bart does for Mother's Day for his mother. Like, that's not fair.
And we all know Bart shouldn't be writing this. It should be Rod that should be writing this on the...
Yeah, because he hates his damn vegetables.
Yeah.
And
right.
If I were him, I wouldn't eat vegetables on Mother's Day either, because that'd be too sad.
Yeah, she was dead at this time, so exactly.
Yeah.
Finally, Steve, we have a couch gag.
Ah, nice.
We see a model set of America's favorite non-prehistoric animated families put together. The plastic pieces are glued, constructed, and painted, and somewhat sloppily. So a lit firecracker is then placed behind the model, causing it to explode. So the camera pans out to show that Nelson was both the builder, painter, and destroyer of the model. Now, Steve, I feel like we might have had this conversation on this podcast before, but were you ever a model builder?
I was not. I did a couple of rockets, very basic, simple rockets. But other than that, no models, like no Warhammer, no like little gray guys that I painted with like a jeweler's eyepiece or anything like that. How about yourself?
Yeah, this was a hobby of mine as a child. I did spaceships, cars, aeroplanes.
Oh.
Yeah. But I always remembered, like, you always, like, painted a lot of the stuff before you started gluing it.
Oh.
Because I was watching this, like, he painted, like, the couch, like, afterwards. I feel like, get that all done, let it dry, get everything, all the characters painted, then put it together. Because you're going to start getting paint, Homer's blue pants will be on the couch. You can't do that.
That's true.
Yeah. But, again, this is Nelson. He's just trying to get it done as fast as possible so he can blow it up. All right. And I wish this... Well, never mind, Steve. I don't want to spoil what you're probably going to give me for my present at the end of this episode, but I want this model set.
Okay.
I kind of feel like they could make this in real life.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I could probably have it commissioned to be constructed via 3D printers.
Oh, for sure.
Are we allowed to sell Simpsons products? We could...
Hey, we're not. That hasn't stopped us before.
Disney just doesn't care. People sell their brand.
Yeah. What are you going to do, run out of money?
All right, Steve, let's begin the episode. And it begins, as it always does, at Springfield train station, as Mo narrates, Springfield, USA is a town where everyone's got a story. And the barkeeper then explains that he moved there because on the calculator, the zip code spells boobs, or 80085.
Yes, and there is no actual real-life city that is 8005. However, if you flip it upside down, as we as kids often did to make out words like hell, or hello, or boobless, so 58008 will take you to Barney, North Dakota, which is a small town with a population of 40 people.
Barney. He's on Simpsons, North Dakota. Steve, is there Springfield, North Dakota?
Probably. I mean, there's always a Springfield somewhere. There is a North Dakota, but it's a township that is mostly an empty spot on the map.
I'm wondering if North Dakota was like, eventually they're going to make a Springfield based off of The Simpsons. Let's just have this township, and then we'll wait till Disney just buys this to make Springfield land in 2028 because, they'll have the rights to the Springfield land.
Exactly, yeah. Makes sense to me.
And Steve, who's going to run it?
The people?
Us.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
going to get jobs. Yeah, we're going to move to North Dakota and run this town. Springfield, North Dakota. We'll be the mayors. Can we be co-mayors?
I think so, yeah.
And then, eventually the TV show Fargo will do a Springfield version where people are murdered in our town.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of cool, actors that you wouldn't see on TV all of a sudden on, a prestige TV show. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, maybe, let's see, maybe we have John Malkovich as Homer.
Oh, they have to be Springfield characters?
I mean, they don't have to be.
How about Denzel as Carl?
Oh, I like
Denzel
that.
Washington, yeah. When he could be Patrick Stewart.
Make it so, but not in my eye. So, Mo goes on to say that the town is full of winners, showing Rainier Wolfcastle in a sporty convertible with a beautiful blonde. And the town is also full of Skinners, such as Seymour, who is pushing his beat-up hatchback while his mother is behind the wheel, asking the principal why he couldn't have died rather than the car.
It seems like everybody comes to Moe's, especially on Kids Drink Free Night. In addition to allowing minors to drink on the house, it's also Barfly Rodeo Night. And we see Homer riding Barney like a bucking bull across the tavern until he falls off and is headbutted by Mr. Gumble. So Cowboy Bob is in the background, which is a nice touch, right? Lenny is dressed as a rodeo clown to distract Barney and then hides in a barrel. You know how Groening doesn't like it when animals act like humans? Do you think it's also the same when he doesn't like humans acting like animals? Because, Barney's still acting like a bull trying to go after Lenny Rodeo Clown.
Yeah, that is a little weird. I think he wouldn't like that.
Is he drunk? Yeah, season 21, he's back to being drunk.
Yeah.
That's just the alcohol talking, Steve. Let's go to our first clip. Mo begins to tell his story.
Moe's Tavern, presided over by Mo Sislak. Handsome, suave, debonair. Hey, get the camera off of me. I'm narrating here. Anyway, here's my little tale. As the town's bartender, I know everyone's problems, and everyone's got problems, especially the married ones. Be they Bible thumper?
Timothy, I finished saying my prayers.
Not now, Helen. Today's the day I paint mustaches on my Pullman porters.
Or jerky jockey?
Go to sleep, sleepyhead, may a cloud be your...
Where did we get this trick? Oof, typical. Here's the kind of lullaby my sweet mother sang to me.
Why do you always change it to Sanskrit 93.7 the dot?
I like Rajivru Baba and Big Brahman in the morning.
Well, we haven't seen Apu in a long time, Steve. Or Majula.
That's true. This was before the conversation about him being problematic really showed up. But I think in this episode, there are certain things that kind of say, maybe it's not such a bad idea, like all of that.
I was going to say, remember when you think they were going to make that kind of joke that they did in this, when it was the episode with Apu and I think Manjula, if I'm getting this right here, and Homer and Marge on a double date, and he begins to play an album and it sounds like this, but he's like, oh, sorry, it's been on 45 and it's like Tom Jones or something like that. Is that the episode I'm thinking of? Is it when they decided to have kids or?
I mean, I definitely remember that scene, and I do
because that's a funny scene.
Yeah.
Sorry, we don't have wonderful Simpsons knowledge like we used to.
There's just so much; it's hard to keep track.
I do like though the animation direction in the beginning when it's kind of like a 3D effect when they're zooming in on the street into Moe's.
Mm-hmm. That is a nice touch. Yeah.
It's a different shot that we've seen before, and also that kind of panoramic when Homer is riding Barney.
Mm-hmm.
Really well done animation sequences that we don't think we've really seen on The Simpsons. So
no, it's really interesting to watch that kind of depth of it. So Apu explains that there's no case system for the Mary Japes of his favorite morning radio show, but Manjula feels that having a Mahatma or Natma contest isn't a jape, it's just sexist sacrilege. So Apu retorts that his wife and the radio program have a lot in common, such as nonstop chatter during drive time. At Manjula's request, Apu rescinds his insult.
As we approach 742 Evergreen Terrace, Mo starts to tell his tale that is leading to this, but is then distracted by Marge, who is fresh out of the shower, wearing only a towel. He is pleased with the point of view, but is disappointed when Marge puts on a robe. Is it weird to be wearing a towel, then putting a robe on? I feel like that's not something people do.
Maybe Marge is embarrassed of her naked body and she doesn't want to look at herself in the mirror.
Is that how you wear robes?
I mean, I don't wear robes, but if I did, then yes.
You'd probably be wearing, like, layers under the robe as well.
I'm wearing a full three-piece suit underneath.
Yeah. Well, as he explains, it was nearly Mother's Day, and the Simpsons were watching an episode of Krusty the Clown. Krusty, dressed as a traditional mother, is complaining to Mr. Teeny that his body was destroyed to give birth to this chip sidekick. And Mr. Teeny is made up to look like Krusty and holding a bouquet of flowers. So he looks blankly at Krusty until a spotlight shines on the clown, and he speaks directly to the TV audience at home.
Kids, this Mother's Day, why don't you give your mom what she really wants? A break from you! Have your dads take all you annoying kids on a Krusty Crustival Cruise Line day cruise to historic Weasel Island, one of America's 10 roundest islands. Explore a dark, dark weasel cave. Tour the historic Civil War prison and picnic where the bodies were once stacked like cordwood. Plus some kind of amusement park.
Warning, you may not be amused.
You guys should go on that cruise. You'll have a great time. And you kids can spend the day getting to know your father.
I like beer, hot dogs, and long blackouts on the beach.
And I can spend my Mother's Day taking care of something I've been putting off for a long time.
Cleaning the gutters?
That's something you've been putting off.
Cartoons! Everybody, be quiet!
Is that how you are in your household? Cartoons are on, you tell everyone to be quiet?
Quiet, everybody, shut up.
I do like, before we start playing the clip with Krusty and Mr. Teeny, like, this is obviously how Krusty airs his grievances. Like, he doesn't have a psychiatrist, like how his mother treated him. Do we ever have an episode where we've met Krusty's mother?
Not that I'm aware of. Like, we obviously know Herschel, but we don't know Miss Kostowski. Like, I think there's a good opportunity there.
Who would you cast to play Krusty's mom?
That's a good... my first thought is, like, Anne Leibovitz.
Yes, known for her comedic timing, Anne Leibovitz.
Well, she's Martin Scorsese's best friend. They could, like...
watch Marvel movies together. I mean, I think if she was alive, I feel like Joan Rivers probably would have been Krusty, because she's this proud Jewish female comedian, right?
Yeah, I think that'd be really good.
Can we get Carol Burnett now, or...?
Yeah, I was going to say maybe Mary Tyler Moore.
Just based off the scene, it seems like she was a horrible mother.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did she die young? Do we know, like, if she left her husband? Like, I'm not sure if we know. Steve, do we have to Google Krusty's mom?
Krusty's mom, Rachel Kostowski.
Very little is known about Rachel. In the episode The Front, Krusty tells guest chef for mentioning his mother's recipe while on the air. She appeared in a flashback in Walking Big and Tall, singing the Springfield City Anthem. It's likely she died when Krusty was a teenager, as she wasn't seen when Krusty was a young adult or in the present. This is further implied in Clown in the Dumps, as seen in a photo featuring Hyman and a teenage Krusty mourning at her grave. All right, there we go, Steve.
There you go.
And I'm looking at the photo now. Rachel Kostowski, beloved mother, would it kill you to leave some flowers? I think at the time, if they would have casted, I think Joan Rivers probably would have been one of the best options.
I think so, yeah.
If they still could do it, how about, even though I know she's a guest on the show before, but how about Sarah Silverman?
Well, that could be fun. Here's another idea. Sarah Sherman.
Ah. Are we just going with Sarah's? Okay, then Sarah Huckabee.
Can't believe she married Bernie Sanders. Sarah Wiggum.
All right, I like that. Played by Megan Mullally. All right.
There you go. So the cartoon that draws everyone's attention is entitled La mort d'un chat sur la lune, or The Death of a Cat on the Moon for our non-French-speaking listeners. So the black and white itching Scratchy cartoon begins with Scratchy filming a trip to the moon style silent film. He tells director Itchy that there is no film in the camera, so the frustrated mouse grabs a knife from the craft service table and cuts open the gut of Scratchy. He then feeds the cat's intestines to the camera, using it as makeshift film.
Itchy calls for action, and Scratchy cranks the camera, painfully pulling out his guts as he does so. Director Itchy uses his stopwatch chain to pop off Scratchy's head, then inflates it in the fireplace bellows, and uses the air-filled cat head as a prop, representing the moon. The headless camera operator continues to film, and the wick of the rocket is lit, causing it into the eye of Scratchy. I love Itchy and Scratchy. Does this one seem like extra long?
It did, yeah. Like, I've got no problem with it, but it did seem to stretch out a little bit.
Yeah, kids love the old A Trip to the Moon film, right? It's right up there with Iron Man.
Sure.
Or Iron Man 2.
Right. I assume that they were watching Tonight Tonight by the Smashing Pumpkins, which at this time was also 15 years old and now is 20-something years old. So, yeah, that's what the kids were watching. And they're like, oh, yeah, that reminds me of that.
I'm just thinking, I mean, if you're a film nerd, even if you're not, that scene is so famous with the high face rocket crashing into it. I feel like it was probably been an oversight for the Simpsons writers. Like, we have not done an Itchy and Scratchy parody of this yet. Weird. Let's just do it then.
Yeah. Well, after Homer and the kids laugh at the cartoon and the cartoon violence, Homer asks Marge what she was just talking about. And so Marge, being annoyed, wonders why she even wastes her breath. Homer responds with a weak apology, saying that he wasn't listening then, and he'll continue not to listen.
I'm sorry, Steve, what'd you say?
Why do I even bother with this podcast?
All right, later as Bart, Lisa, and Homer head out for their trip to Weasel Island, Bart asks his father what he thought Marge meant when she said that she'd be taking care of something. And Homer tells his son that he happens to be a bit of an expert on the female gender and says that women don't mean anything by anything. And Lisa feels like that's a really dangerous attitude to take towards women, especially his wife. I just love that the line reading that she does. Like, wow, really, Dad? You just said that? Even I was watching this like, wow, that's kind of fucked up thing to say. It did make me laugh, though.
Mm-hmm.
Homer tells Lisa that he hears her, but then whispers loudly to Bart, nothing. Again, Homer, wow.
Wow, yeah.
Wait, see, remember, a woman did write this episode.
That's true. The men in this episode are not portrayed particularly well.
Right.
Fathers and their kids board the shoddy ship Island Queen, although one of the E's in Queen is missing from the ship. Homer drops Maggie into her playpen, saying that there's a lobster, should she get hungry. We then see that the playpen is just a lobster cage with a snappy crustacean about to attack Maggie, who uses both her bow and pacifier to suppress the sea bug.
So the ship begins to head out, and on the dock, squeaky-voiced teen speeds on his bicycle with a special delivery letter for Mr. Simpsons, Lovejoy, and Nahasapita Pedalon. The teen falls into the water, but the very important letter floats into the air, and it falls to the water where Homer uses a harpoon to catch it. He opens the letter in confusion. And he sees it's from the stationery that is from the merry mind of Moe, and features an image of Moe as a court gesture. So the three men then begin to read the body of the letter.
Dear friends, I have some news that is doubly sad. First off, I am leaving town forever. And my going away present? One of your wives is running off with me. One of our wives is leaving us for Mo?
Mo's leaving town?
Perhaps I should have told you in person, but there's no easy way to say goodbye forever. So I'll say it the hardest way I can, in Mandarin Chinese. Sai Qian Yonggen. And now as our tea kettle starts to doot, I'm gonna take a little break. Boy, this voiceover thing is killing me. Whatever that Don Pardo gets paid, it ain't enough.
I make more than you can possibly imagine, and I'm making it right now.
Where are you?
He's dead, Mo. That's where he's at. He's in Deadland.
Burning in hell. Yeah, it's a nice little cameo from Don Pardo, who at this time had probably left SNL.
Well, I don't think he ever left. I don't think he ever, it was later in his life. I think he just recorded all the intros.
Okay, just from home. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to see him.
That'd be a fun gig to have, to be the announcer for SNL.
Oh, yeah.
We would be horrible at it. Like, Michael Che.
Colin Joseph's still on there? Weird.
Kenan Thompson.
From Keenan and Kel? Bo and Yang.
And your host, Bilber Baggins.
Who is this musical guest? I've never heard of them. That I'd say every week.
Yeah. It's like, finally, Paul McCartney. The only name I know. And I'll be like, who's Paul McCartney?
Was he in that commercial? I assume he's in a commercial of some sort.
Well, it's getting around to the holiday season. I feel like a lot of old celebrities. It's like the John Travolta as Santa doing the Saturday Night Fever dancing, which is like, who's this for?
Yeah. Some very confused older gay man who's like, yes, this is for me, finally. And that man's name is John Travolta.
Right, yes, that's true. I mean, allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. He's not actually Santa Claus. The ship nears Weasel Island, but Homer, Reverend Lovejoy, and Apu are preoccupied with the fact that Mo is running off with one of their wives. Timothy checks the authenticity of the letter, noticing the "What are you looking at?" Mo watermark, and so this leaves the three men asking which one of their wives is gonna get mojacked. Apu attempts to exclude himself from the equation by simply calling Manjula, but finds that his cell phone has neither signal nor battery to make a call. Reverend Lovejoy finds the same fate, but Homer is able to get through Marge, even if the reception isn't the best.
I like how Reverend Lovejoy just knows that Mo has a letter of authenticity in his stationery. Like, is Mo writing Lovejoy a lot of letters? Is he like a rat, like a snitch? Like, Dr. Hibbert wasn't in a church this Sunday. He was in the bar drinking before surgery or something like that. That's why he wasn't there.
Maybe Mo is secretly a train enthusiast and they write letters back and forth about, like, train stuff.
You know, I think we were talking about last week how it's funny how Helen has this attraction to Mo, and you kind of see it in this episode. And what if that is the case? What if you're right? What if, like, Mo does hang out with Reverend Lovejoy in his little train basement? I could definitely see that.
Yeah, it could be butts.
Yeah, they need to have a train enthusiast episode. I think Mo would be in it as well. Who else I could see in that train? Like, maybe like Martin's dad.
Oh, yeah. I could see, like, maybe the college nerds.
I was going to say, like, Kurt's there for just because he wants to have friends. Oh, and in the episode, Flanders finds out and is sad because Reverend Lovejoy never invited him. Because I also see, like,
Yeah,
Flanders is also into that kind of stuff.
that makes sense. Yeah, I could see that for sure.
And in the B story, Lisa and Bart started a detective agency.
Ah, yes, I like it.
Well, Homer asks Marge if she's running off with Mo. She responds, but all Homer can hear is, Homer, I'm you. He asks if she's losing him or leaving him and replies, we're breaking up. And the call is over. Angered, Homer throws his phone into the water. When he sees that Marge is still on the line, he uses a push-pull to T9 text. Remember T9 text?
Yeah.
I was really, I mean, I don't want to brag, but I was really good at T9 text, Steve.
I think I was too, like, yeah.
It took like extra amount of time, but it was a beep, beep, beep. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, satisfying.
Yeah, so asking if she's leaving him but before he can finish the message, the clamshell phone sinks into the deep.
So I wonder, like, this is my own thought, but like that idea of like the bad connection, we're breaking up, confusion, I feel like that's a little tropey, and I think, at least in my opinion, kind of belongs in joke jail.
At this time, was it used a lot?
The first time I really remember seeing it was on Friends when Monica was dating John Favreau, and they had that joke.
Well, because at the time, you could even not use a cell phone, because a lot of people had cordless phones that would break up.
That's true, yeah.
And this is 2010 we're talking about, when we're kind of getting into the age of, and yeah, we're still having drop calls.
Right.
But smartphones are starting to take over, so the flip phone is kind of old at this point.
It's true.
You know what? I'm going to allow it. Cha-ching.
All right, so
actually, that's a good sound effect for jail. Cha-ching, because
yeah, it does make a lot of money. It's basically industrialized slavery. Yeah. Not a political podcast. Frustrated, Homer throws the pole into the water, and the seafarer explains that they needed that pole to hook onto the dock. So instead, the boat crashes into the dock, causing people to run in terror. The ship then goes up in a blast of flames. And the captain explains that most of the ship's cargo is explosives.
I mean, explosive jokes on The Simpsons always land.
Oh, yeah.
Just how big that explosion was as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if, would have been better if the joke was we're carrying a lot of, candy, especially Pop Rocks. Or, sorry, we're carrying a lot of children's Tylenol or some sort of children's clothing or something. Yeah. Just an out there joke.
Yeah, maybe we have, baby's clothing and marshmallows.
Very funny, of course. Now that they have a right at Weasel Island, which is aptly named, as we see weasels chew down the island sign and run wild all over the place. So Bart checks out the Civil War prison and museum of sideburns. So inside, he locks up Apu's octuplets, calling them rebel scum who make him sick. He then gives the old Greybacks payback for how they allegedly treated the soldiers at Andersonville. So he cracks a whip at the toddler, and as Lisa points out, when there's cruelty involved, Bart really knows his history. This joke is probably geared to someone like Conan O'Brien, probably loves this joke. Someone who just loves Civil War history. We'll get to be Civil War II buff, Steve, because we'll get to live it.
That's true. Oh, boy.
We're in a battleground state, too, which is kind of crazy if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like most states will be in battleground states.
I mean, most blue states, definitely.
Yeah.
Red states, probably not much.
That's true. They're probably safe.
Yeah. Anyways, not a political podcast. But, when Civil War II does happen, should we start doing this podcast via, Pony Express?
Ooh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Do it over telegrams and...
The Simpsons have done a thing. Stop. This podcast is really bad. Stop. No, seriously, it's not a telegram. It's just, you guys need to stop.
Anyway, so the kids break out of prison and begin to get revenge on Bart by pinning him down and sawing off his leg. Well, it's probably pretending. Meanwhile, the three men think about which one of their wives may have ran off with Mo.
Well, if Mo were leaving with one of our wives, it wouldn't be my Helen. We just started a new jigsaw puzzle last week. We're still on the edges.
Well, Marge and I don't have any problems. We never even fight anymore. What?
When a woman is peaceful and content, that means all hell is about to break loose.
Think back, Homer. When did you first realize Marge was checked out like a Harry Potter book at the public library?
I always hear, people being like, oh, if you don't argue in a relationship, you're doing something wrong. And I just don't agree with that.
Well, I agree with it.
Well, you're wrong.
That's it. Go to your room.
I'm going to go to bed.
I also agree with that, too. It's you figure, if you aren't fighting and you're content, your life is probably good. I don't get that. We're not much of fighters either. So, yeah, I think if you don't fight a lot, I think that's good. That, again, we're not relationship advisors, but I think you're right. I agree with you.
Yeah, I just find that, me and my wife, we're, content and, we just hang out. We don't, feel the need to argue because I don't want to argue with somebody. If I argued with somebody, I wouldn't want to, be with them.
So if I start arguing with you on this podcast, then you wouldn't want to be doing it anymore. I can write that down. Good to know. All right. And who's checking out Harry Potter books at the public library anymore?
That's true. Terse.
Oh, yeah. So the Reverend tells Homer to think back, and he does, remembering playing with his rattle in a crib as a baby. I guess you're the talker, sorry.
So the Reverend tells Homer to think back, and he does, remembering playing with his rattle in a crib as a baby. Timothy tells him not to go that far back, and Homer recalls a moment when he was at home, and Marge was telling him to get busy in anticipation of her mother's birthday party. So not exactly sure how to get busy, Homer rearranges the grapes and an orange in a fruit bowl. He then turns to Mo, who is tending the home bar, asking for something strong enough to make him forget that he hates his in-laws, but not so strong that he tells them that he loves them.
I do love that little bit of Marge saying, all right, do something, get busy. It just changes the fruit around. It's very fun. So unfortunately for Homer, Mo isn't serving liquor, but rather Old Glum's non-alcoholic beer, which features a leprechaun running on a treadmill and the slogan, until you get your license back. Homer feels that the precaution is insane, but Marge doesn't want him ruining her mother's 80th birthday. So Marge assures him that he'll have fun, adding that she even invited a friend. That friend bursts through the door saying, "Knock-a-doodle you," and Homer is disappointed to learn that it is... Who do you think started that, Steve?
Gerald Ford.
Correct, but as played by Ned Flanders. Why, if you're not serving alcohol, why even hire a bartender at your birthday?
And if he's just serving beer, even if it is alcoholic beer, you don't need a bartender for that.
No.
Just have a cooler.
What's Marge paying Mo?
Maybe she's paying him in sex.
Or I feel like maybe Mo's doing it for free because he'll probably do anything for Marge, right?
That's true, yeah.
Well, then he's losing money at Mo's because who's watching Mo's? No one.
Yeah. And is he paying for the beer too if he's doing it for free? Like,
I imagine Marge probably would have paid for the beverages, but he's just serving them. But again, why does he need to be there? I mean, obviously it's for the story, but it's still silly.
So as Ned explains, he's there to be a little angel on Homer's shoulder to ensure that he doesn't listen to the 400 devils on his other shoulder. And Homer responds with an annoyed grunt, as do the many tiny devils holding pitchforks on his shoulder. So the night goes on, and the partygoers chat and mingle. Homer's then asked to play a photographer by his sisters-in-law.
Hey, Chunky with the pants and meatballs, take our picture.
All right.
I wasn't smiling.
What the?
I had something in my teeth.
Are you?
My eyes were shut.
Lousy.
My sweater's on backwards. He can't do anything right, except setting off car alarms with his big fat footsteps.
You take that back! Go ugly up someone else's house, you penis-curling she-devils!
You got it. We're not staying where we're not wanted. Every time I plan something that means something to me, you somehow mess it up.
Penis-curling she-devil.
It's to say Jeopardy answer.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Marjorie Taylor Greene?
I'm sorry, the answer we were looking for, Mother Teresa.
Oh. Yeah, she was kind of horrible. We found out recently. But I still think it's Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, she's pretty awful too, yeah. Probably worse.
Our future Secretary of Jewish Space Lasers. Well, Steve, in the background, Mo watches the scene unfold. Marge, angrily snapping, stalks the celery into bite pieces for a crudité plate. The sounds of celery breaking flows into the sound of fingers snapping. It's Bart, back on Weasel Island, asking Homer for some cash. Staring off into the void, Homer hands Bart a wad of bills, and he inserts $1 in an animatronic psychic vending machine. A message is then presented that reads, "You will lose all your money." Skeptical, Bart puts another $1, and then yet another, and another. It's so dumb. Very funny scene, Bart.
Yeah. So in the dilapidated theme park, there's a crappy-looking spook house, as well as a rocket-shaped carousel with various nondescript animals, simply titled Ride. And Bart hands over his ticket. The carny tells him that he had that scar prior to boarding the ride. So Bart asks, "What scar?" And the carny assures him that he'll find out, and then rips out the brake. So the park employee walks away, muttering to himself about keeping records of himself and being the one who makes the soup.
So at a nearby table, Homer feels that he is doomed. Reverend Lovejoy isn't so sure, as it could be Manjula that Mo is running off with. And Apu says that his marriage is solid, and that she would never cheat on him. Like he cheated on... Oh, boy. Did we watch that episode where Apu cheats on Manjula?
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, Reverend Lovejoy then asks Apu if there was ever a time when Manjula may have sought comfort in Mo's hairy arms. And as Ralph is flung into the air by the poorly constructed carnival ride, Apu thinks back to a rainy day when he and the family stopped by Mo's.
May we use your restroom to change our kids out of their cricket uniforms?
We got caught in the rain because someone wouldn't use international short-form rules.
Calm down there, Pooh and She-Poo. You can use the restroom.
My one day off and it is miserable.
This is my day every day.
You see this? I'm playing the world's smallest sitar for you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh! We are missing a tablet.
We must have left it at that godforsaken pub.
How could you forget your own child?
Well, how could you forget your own child?
Oh, I can't believe I married you. What my grandfather saw in your grandfather, I will never know.
Hey, Pooh, I just wanted you to know that I got one of your kids here. This ain't a kidnapping thing, but if you're in the mood to give me $1 million, yeah, that's cool. This should not be interpreted by federal agents as a threat. Once again, no threat, but we'll take the dough.
I like Mo's clarification, like, I'm not threatening anybody, but if you want to, I'll happily take your money.
And I do like the double standard of Majula saying, like, how could you forget your own child? And Apu's like, how could you forget your own child? The double standard.
It's true.
Love it.
Yeah. I think it's a good, just in general, if you're with a partner or whatever, fight the problem, not the person.
Also, I think we've discussed it before, but Bart and Lisa never aged. Yet, all the Apu Hospital kids have aged like 3 years.
That's true, yeah. And then they stopped.
Right. If we go watch the episode where they gave birth, you have to then assume that if we don't see Lisa and Bart in class, then maybe they are. We could pretend they're younger. No, because that just wouldn't make sense for the whole series.
Yeah, no, it's best not to think about it.
All right.
So Apu figures that either he or Mandrula will have to go back to Moe's to pick up the left behind child. Maybe he could go and have a beer or two, shoot a game of pool, and, should he win, play the challenger. Such are the customs of billiards. So Mandrula, speeding out in the family's van, shouts, "What a great father," I say sarcastically. This causes Apu to respond, "If only that mark on your forehead was an off button." Yet another reason why. Maybe Apu's depiction of a character from India isn't the best.
Yeah, this episode really makes me say, okay, I guess not having Apu on the show anymore is probably for the best.
Yeah, I definitely miss the concept of Apu, but yeah, this episode in particular kind of highlights some of the more problematic issues.
A lot of the racial stereotypes, exactly.
Yeah.
I just remember when we used to play billiards, at the bar, it was Monday nights was free pool, something like that, or Sunday nights.
Yeah.
And I just, the custom of a stranger coming up and I'll play winner. And we're both kind of because we both sucked.
Right.
Oh, we're just playing this one game. We're done.
Yeah. You can have the table. I just, don't look at me play because I'll be embarrassed.
I mean, we were good if we weren't playing rules.
Yeah. You can use your hands. You don't have to use a stick.
You can always get the 8-ball and it's okay.
Right. It's extra points.
Yeah. Oh, your solids? That's fine if you get stripe into.
Because what is a stripe but a solid with some other solids next to it?
Oh, the cue ball, it gets a hit out of the table and into someone's glass. That's extra points.
Yeah, that's a win. That's a hole-in-one.
Oh, you broke the owner's window. Gotta run.
Yeah. The person who makes it back home without getting caught is the winner.
Well, so let's go to the present day, Steve. Apu tells Reverend Lovejoy and Homer that Mandrula returned hours later smelling of beer and pickled eggs. That may be all the information that Apu has, but Homer shares that he was at Moe's, being his usual effervescent self when Mandrula arrived. So we cut to Homer passed out at the bar. Moe is using his soda gun to shoot water into Homer's open mouth, much to the delight of a young octuplet.
So Mandrula walks in, thanking Moe for protecting her precious, and then she checks the shirt tag to see that his name is Geet, because she can't tell all of her kids apart. Moe is empathetic to the rough day Mandrula must be having, and she agrees it's been hard. Her eyes have more bags than the Darjeeling Limited. So Moe laughs politely, saying that joke is probably a good one. He then shows her the Z Dance Dance Evolution game, which he brought for when women came into the bar. And then he also got low blow boxing for the guys, which allows the player to punch their opponent in the testicles, causing the video game to shout, "My nards! My nards! My nards!"
There's a store called Menards.
There is, yeah.
We don't have them on the West Coast, but I know the Midwest has them because I'll watch a Chicago Cubs baseball game, and Menards is always a sponsor. I think like a Home Depot type of store, like a Lowe's, right?
Yeah, I think it's, yeah.
But every time I was this game is sponsored by Menards. I always giggle. It's just like this, Menards.
Yeah, it's funny.
Can you explain to people the Jarling Limited joke of bags?
Well, in the Wes Anderson film Darjeeling Limited, Jason Schwartzman and others are on a train, and trains have luggage, and so there are a lot of bags on it.
All right. I mean, of course I've seen that movie, Steve. I'm just, some people might have not seen that particular film.
Yeah. Why does nobody, I don't remember it either.
I think I stopped watching Wes Anderson movies at Rushmore. No. No, I watched the one with the kid campers. What was that one?
Sure. Moonrise Kingdom?
Yeah, Moonlight. Right. I saw that one. Definitely should have won Best Picture. Oh, no, yeah, I watched that one. I mean, I know I watched the new one, the Asteroid City. I've seen that one. I think there's a few in there that I haven't watched. It's yeah, I think maybe that one. I don't think I've actually watched Grand Budapest Hotel either.
That one's good. The French Dispatch is like somebody parroting Wes Anderson films. It's so Wes Anderson-y. It's like unnecessarily arty and just feels like so over the top.
Yeah, that one I have yet to see either. So if you're keeping track, Steve, I'm going to tell you the ones that I have seen and have not seen. Well, I'll just tell you the ones I have not seen, okay? I have not seen The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar and three more. French Dispatch, Grand Budapest, Jarlene Limited. That's it.
You saw Isle of Dogs?
Yes, I've seen that, and Fantastic Mr. Fax.
I like the fox. I haven't seen the dogs.
There you go. His best movie still is it Tenenbaums? Is that still? I mean, maybe it's because it's probably because the age.
Yeah, I don't know if we saw it at the right time, but to me, it's the best one. It feels like a book. It's fun. All the characters are interesting.
It's like Rushmore and Tenenbaums, but again, that's just the age.
Yeah. I haven't watched Rushmore in a while though, so.
And I remember not being really a fan of Life Aquatic.
Neither was I. I liked it fine, but it was not exactly great.
I did have fun with Asteroid City when that came out, so there you go. Wow, when did this podcast turn into Wes Anderson?
You can hear us filming in perfect symmetry with washed out colors.
All right, Steve, Mo invites Manjula to cut one. On the rug, that is. Steve, I invite you to fart. Manjula, Mo, and Geek dance to Lady Gaga's Just Dance when Marge enters angry at Homer, who said he'd be home by 7 o'clock. And Marge grabs Homer by the ear and drags him home so he can help with Marge's mother's birthday. So back at Weasel Island, Apu wants to know just what happened next, but Homer isn't sure. Then the carny sees that his out-of-control ride now has a teacup as one of the cars. But he's not sure how it got there. He once again mutters, calling himself a rutabaga brain, and threatens to make a soup out of his own eyeball.
I think that the carny idea is really interesting because it's just kind of a throwaway thing where he's just a crazy guy who mutters to himself, and I like that it's not relevant to anything, so that's fun.
It's much like you in your daily life.
Yeah, I'm not relevant to anything.
And you mutter to yourself.
No, I don't, stupid me. I don't talk to myself. That would be crazy. I'm not crazy. Anywho, Apu wonders how Timothy can be so sure that Helen isn't the pudding in Moe's hand. Homer chimes in asking how innocuous the Reverend's flashbacks are. And he stammers, and just then the fairy horn blows, informing them that they'll be leaving in 10 minutes, where they'll learn whose wife is leaving with Moe. Lovejoy thinks that back to a Sunday at the service after the First Church of Springfield.
It'll take us home to find out the truth.
The truth.
The roof! I'm still mad at you from last night.
Today's the 1st, which means it was last month, which means you're being ridiculous.
I'm glad we never argue like that.
Yes, to argue, you have to actually talk to each other.
Way to bitch up the conversation, Helen.
Oof!
Oh, Tim, as your spiritual advisor, I'm afraid you two have a big problem.
Me and Helen, we're as happy as Adam and Eve before Eve munched us all to hell.
I'm gonna let you in on a little trick they taught us in divinity school. Now take a look at Helen over there. She seems happy as a clam, am I right?
Oh, happier. Where a clam has only one pearl, she has many.
Nah, don't you jive me, Tim. Just take your thumb and put it over her mouth.
His Lovejoy is his mentor, the MVJ of this episode.
He might be. He actually appeared in, I don't think we haven't reviewed it yet, but in the previous season, he showed up as kind of the person who showed Lovejoy how to be, and he's basically just a ripoff of Bing Crosby.
I think I kind of remember that episode. Yeah.
The reason that I remember it is because in the 90s, this is a dumb, deep pull, but on Fox Kids TV in the morning, there was a show called Tasmania, which showed the Tasmanian devil with his family in this home environment, kind of after the popularity of the Tiny Toons Adventures. And his dad was a Bing Crosby ripoff for no apparent reason, who just talked like that and wanted to go golfing all the time.
I didn't really watch that cartoon, but like every character talked like normal except for Taz, right?
Yes. And like his sister was like a valley girl. And yeah, there was like everyone was just a normal person except for Taz, who was Taz.
That character wasn't really popular when he came out, right? And then it was really kind of like the 90s that made Tasmanian Devil really cool. And I just, even as a kid, I'm like, he's kind of annoying. Like, he's just a product. Like, the character's, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that, he's like a lesser Roadrunner in a way. Like, he's just a weird villain who doesn't really, like, have any personality. Like, even, like, Yosemite Sam would be, like, a varmint shooting gun show. Like, he, like, had
an
thing.
American, Steve, an American.
That's right, yeah. I said guns. So you got it. But yeah, Tasmanian Devil was just like, whatever.
Who is your favorite Looney Tunes character? Go.
I'm a big Wile E. Coyote guy, but also I got to give up to Marvin the Martian.
I always was Wile E. and Roadrunner. I think those were my favorite cartoons. They still hold up. They're great.
Yeah. I think the dynamic is really interesting and like their creativity in like the simplicity of it, but also the complexity of the plot or the way that the coyote would try and get him. It's a lot of fun.
And is it problematic for me to say that I always like Leghorn?
I mean, probably, but I am in the same boat. Like, I thought he was fun.
But he is very problematic.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. But, like, so are most of the Looney Tunes, probably.
And I like Sylvester Cat, but I hated Tweety Bird. I really wanted him to eat that damn fucking bird.
Yeah, it was annoying, but yeah.
Okay, Steve, we're not here to talk about cartoons. We're here to talk about a cartoon. Reverend Lovejoy follows his mentor's advice, using his thumb to obscure the view of his wife's mouth. As he does, her eyes squint in anger, returning to a smile when he moves his thumb. When he covers her eyes from his view, she begins to growl, causing the parson to say that the sheet canoe is about to blow. So the Bing Crosby-inspired character then begins to sing a little tune with some accompaniment.
Krakatoa, east of Java, never spewed a hotter lava than a Mount St. Helen. Who's mad at you?
Kilauea, or you will pay her. Zabaziz, zabazaz, zabazoo.
Interesting.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, that was fun. So Helen sits alone, depressed in an empty pew in the church when Mo walks in. He tells her that he's looking for the Reverend to get something off of his chest. That something is probably more suited for the town gossip than the minister's wife, and Helen is intrigued. Mo says that there's a married woman that he has feelings for, and as he says this, Apu runs by in his cricket gear, overhearing the conversation.
Mo goes on to say that woman's husband is unaware of just how upset she is, leading Helen to ask if she knows the woman in question. Mo coyly responds that she does, and they both giggle. Mo asks her, "What the hell is so funny?" and they begin to laugh. And Apu remembers that Mo placed his hand on Helen's knee, and Lisa calls out to Homer, looking for help removing herself from the horse from the ride. So here it is, Steve. We were talking about the kiss from last week's episode of Helen and Mo, and this is where it all begins.
That's right, the burgeoning of a new relationship between Dirtbag and Preacher's wife.
I used to say Dirtbag and Mo.
She is kind of a dirtbag. So the three men hop on the school bus and tell Otto to get them back into town. The bus driver, though, was unaware that he'd have to drive back to the original destination, and then worries that he may have mistimed some substances. We've all been there. He then looks on the road and sees the other vehicles have turned into snarling, angry cars like beasts, like the movie Cars. But they arrive at 742 Evergreen Terrace, where Homer sees a silhouette of Marge, seemingly packing a bag.
So it is you, Mr. Homer. But let's be honest, a woman of her age married to a man of... How old are you? 65?
39.
Dear God, this day gets more and more disturbing.
Marge, no! Stop packing your painting supplies.
Grandma? What do you think?
You're not leaving me?
My mother explained that what happened at the party wasn't your fault.
It's Patty and Selma. There's something evil about them. Did you know they smoked when I was pregnant?
Oh, Marge, you're not leaving with Mo is the best thing that never happened to me.
Okay, Reverend, your place is next.
Actually, Millhouse and I are next.
There's no suspense at your place. Even I've hooked up with your old lady. Sorry, kid.
You were my favorite uncle, Uncle Otto.
I love how Marge's mom even is shading her own daughters. I like how that they were smoking in the womb.
Which begs the question, how did those cigarettes get up there?
Well, she took some cigarettes and shoved them up her vagina. That's how it works, Steve.
Asked and answered, thank you. Right. Luann, and Otto hooked up, which means that, I just wonder who else Luann is hooked up with.
Let's say Mo. So the bus then pulls up in front of the church where the sign says, "Get your ass in here, Tim." Reverend Lovejoy and his daughter enter to find 2 suitcases, as well as 2 tickets to Istanbul, once Constantinople. So as Helen explains that she's taking those bags and walking out the door. Meanwhile, Timothy will be setting the alarm and joining her in the cab. That's right. They'll be boarding the Turkish Express, the world's most romantic train. As they kiss, Helen asks if that is a train in his pocket or if he's just happy to see her, to which Timothy replies, both.
Ooh.
So he's got a boner and a toy train.
One's a caboose and one's going into a caboose. Okay. So, seeing this, Apu regretfully figures he is the one about to lose his wife. So as he arrives at his apartment, he feels the pain of 1,000 squishy headaches. He walks in with the kids to find Mo sitting on the couch.
My worst fears are confirmed.
Apu, this man has come here to convince me to do something I never thought I would do. Stay with you.
Oh, you mean you are not leaving me for him?
Don't be ridiculous. What am I, blind and noseless?
Hey, I'm right here.
Believe me, I know. Apu, our marriage will never be easy. But nothing worth doing is ever easy.
It is true. The tastiest ice cream is the hardest to scoop.
But if you wrap something warm around it...
Oh.
Very nice. Well, all's well that ends well, huh?
Yes, except for why did you write that horrible letter?
When I saw how much trouble your marriages were in, I knew I had to act fast. I got Marge's mother to go to Marge, convinced Helen to ride the rails of romance with the Padre. Then I bought some roadside corn, ate it raw, got a kernel in my teeth, flossed with the corn silk, and then I came over to fix things with Manjula. And I wrote that letter so you 3 chumps would realize that you have not been treating your wives the way they deserve.
Have you ever had rock corn?
I feel like I probably have, when, we've gotten, ears of corn and we shucked it, and I might have tried it, but, yeah, how about yourself?
Yeah, it's actually, you think it's going to be hard to eat. It's not. It's surprisingly easy to eat and tastes pretty good. It's more sweet.
Yeah, I was going to say, it feels like it's sweeter.
Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with eating raw corn. I feel like people think, oh, raw corn must be hard to eat and it's not good. No, they're wrong. You're all wrong. Dead wrong. Just get some raw corn, clean it off. It's fucking great. You don't need to cook it. I mean, maybe you need to cook it if there's parasites on it or something, but it's tasty. You don't need butter. You don't need salt. It's nature's candy. But yeah, corn. Eat it raw. Or don't eat it. I don't care.
It's delicious.
So Mo tells the husbands to think of his actions as a wake-up call from a man who ain't got nothing but a blow-up doll. Even the doll left Mo, who regrets using helium. Homer is unsure whether he should punch or kiss Mo, so he does both. Mo finishes his narration telling all the mugs out there not to take the woman you love for granted. And since it's Mother's Day, call your ma. So as he tells the men to go to the department store diner with their mother to enjoy a roast beef on rye and a fruit cup on the side, we see this helium-filled blow-up doll floating in the air as the intruder's I'll always love my mama plays. We see various mothers of Springfield, such as
Marge and her mother knitting a Mother's Day sign.
Bernice Hibbert blowing out the candles of a birthday cake.
Luann Van Houten giving Milhouse a plate of freshly baked cookies.
Agnes Skinner receiving a kiss from Seymour.
Sea Captain McAllister hugging the woman carved into the mast of the ship.
Professor Frink with Mom, the multi-platform optical mainframe.
Apu fist bumping his mom.
Brandine with her several kin.
And Homer sitting on the lap of his mom, who actually died in the previous season.
You know who wasn't there with their mother?
Who's that?
Rachel, Krusty's mom.
That's true.
All right. I'm glad we're doing this episode in November.
Just in time.
Just have for Mother's Day. No, just in time for America's Thanksgiving, where mom's got to cook.
That's right.
Get in the kitchen, Mom.
Where you belong.
Jeez. It's okay. We don't have mothers.
That's true.
All right. Hey, Steve, that was our episode.
Yay.
How about we take a break, regroup, come back, and discuss?
Sounds great.
We'll be right back.
Just to buy me a new pair of shoes. I never understood how Mama made it through the week when she never ever got a good night's sleep. Oh, she's one of a kind. You've got yours and I've got mine. Oh, hey Mama, my heart belongs to you.
All right, Steve, we're back. Let's wrap up this week's episode of Mo Letter Blues. We'll talk about some of our favorite scenes and jokes, find an MBJ, give it a nice little review, find out what we're watching next week. But before all of that is said and done, Steve, we will give a gift from this episode. Something that says, here you go, Steve. You could be the mother of this podcast.
Oh, boy.
And, well, there's plenty of things in this podcast that would make wonderful gifts. I thought the only gift I should give you is a mentor. That's right.
Wow.
I hired Reverend Timothy Lovejoy's mentor to be your mentee or mentor.
Nice.
You're the mentee.
Yeah, I'm the mentee.
And you get to see him for 52 Sundays. That's right.
Wow.
Just one. Yeah. It doesn't have to be in consecutive order, but the 52, of course, is significant because that's how many weeks there are in a year. So you can use them for a year, or you can spread those 52 weeks or 52 sessions throughout your life.
I think I'll do 2 a year for the next 26 years.
He might be dead by then, so I'll get that money back. So
yeah,
perfect.
There you go.
Yeah,
Win-win.
Okay. I get, you got so many gifts last week. It was your birthday.
That's true.
Kinda wiped me out financially, so that's all you get.
That's fair. I understand that.
Oh, wait, and I guess here's some non-alcoholic beer, Old Glums.
I thought that was going to happen.
All right. That's it.
That's very nice. I appreciate that. And for you, well, of course, I got you the model set from the beginning, the couch gag. I know you showed an interest in that, but that's not all. I'm also going to get you your very own stationery that says from the merry mind of Craig, with your own watermark that says, "What are you looking at?"
I mean, I appreciate that, but the use of alliteration, the merry mind, couldn't you use
from the kooky cranium of Craig?
There you go. I like it.
All right.
I'm going to start writing letters, especially to our representatives on that stationery.
Very good. Very important nowadays.
Yes. Steve, what made you laugh in this episode?
I do enjoy the parson, Timothy's mentor. A lot of fun. I liked Mo in this episode. He was a good time. I liked how he kind of, interacted with everybody. But and I also liked, even though it was a little problematic, the way that everyone was so shitty with each other. Like Timothy was saying, way to bitch up the conversation, Helen. It's a funny line to me. And also kind of a rogue guy, but I like the Carney kind of muttering him to himself. That was good. But I think the MBJ for me is going to be the parson. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I said it in the show talk. The parson was great. I got to give it to the director, Matthew Nastuk. I thought the direction of this episode was well done. I love the animation. I really enjoyed the Krusty the Clown show with Krusty airing his grievances to himself as his mother with Mr. Teeny is playing Krusty.
It's a lot of fun.
Grandma Bouvier mentioning that, this Patty and Selma are kind of evil and they smoked inside the womb. And I love the scene with Bart shoving all the money into the Zoltar machine or the acting like it's gambling. Very dumb thing Bart would do. So, all in all, Steve, what do you think of this episode?
I really like this episode. I think it was fun because I like the perspective of having Mo as an outsider looking at these other relationships. And, we've always known him as kind of like a lonely, curmudgeonly weirdo. And so it's fun to see him look at the people in his life who are in like long-term relationship marriages and saying like, oh, they're kind of like not working out, kind of being shitty to each other. And so he's kind of doing a good deed. And I think that's interesting. And as we kind of talked about, like, what is Stephanie trying to say about Al Jean? Is he a jerk? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not, but we don't know. And if you're listening, Al, you're wonderful, and Stephanie's wrong. And Stephanie, if you're listening, Al is wrong. But yeah, I think this is a fun episode. I like that Mo kind of did a good deed for no real gain of his own. The dynamic of the episode is not a typical episode, and I think that's great. It's not like too gimmicky, but I think having the three stories kind of intertwined so tightly. And like you say, the visuals, especially that kind of 3D looking thing of pulling into Mo's, and they do it at the house too. I think that was really good. I think this is a fun episode. It's a solid one. I think when we're in like the early 20s, we're a little bit skeptical. Kind of post-movie, we're still feeling a little weird, but I think this is like kind of back to the good old days or the good new days or the good medium days even, because time is weird. So if I had to give this a ranking, they mentioned that Homer had 400 devils on his shoulder. So out of 400 devils, I'm going to give this a 342. What do you think, Craig?
Yeah, it is kind of a fun episode where Mo plays not Cupid, but Stapid. That's Cupid's brother who makes your relationship stay. Stapid. I think you might have liked it more than me. I feel like some of the Apu stuff, but this is just like maybe modern day Craig thinking like some of that stuff. I can understand why we don't want to see the stereotypes.
Yeah, that is true.
You don't see like Helen Lovejoy and Reverend Lovejoy stories that often. So it's nice to include them in this mix. And I'm thinking, they're thinking like, well, this is a Mother's Day episode, but it also can work as, maybe a Valentine's Day episode too.
Yeah.
But it's about the mothers and how like, remember that even though you think your relationship is solid because you got the kids, you got this family. I mean, yes, I know half of relationships or marriages probably end in divorce in this country, maybe more now. I don't know the statistics. But, don't forget that, Mo is just seeing this as the outsider, like, hey, maybe he kind of wants what they have and he wants to make sure that, they keep working on the relationships, even though they're at this point in their relationship where it's stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
Like you and I don't agree with like couples should fight. Have differences, but not like fight.
Right. Like I said, fight the issue, not the person.
Like you said earlier, yeah. Fight the man, not the woman.
What was that thing from Heroes? Fight the...
Save the cheerleader, ride the cowboy.
There we go, yeah.
I think that's what it was. Okay.
I think so, yeah.
Now, if I had to give this a ranking, look, this episode was Mother's Day, right?
It's true.
And if you think of the best mothers of Springfield, well, I would say Marge is up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Maude. The worst mother, probably Lamb of God. She's kind of a dick to her kid. Yet again, that's not really her real kid.
That's
so.
also true, yeah.
We probably would have said Mrs. Nelson, but after last week's new episode, I don't think she's bad at all. So if we're going to say Agnes is the worst, Marge is the best, I'm going to give this episode a Bernice Hibbert.
Oh, that's fair.
All right, Steve. Look, it's fun going back and reliving the past from an episode that was 14 years old. But we're going back to season 36. That's right. We're going to have a new episode. And it'll be nice to we've had, 6 episodes of the new season?
Yeah.
We're going to a 7th episode. And surely we're done with all of the craziness that was the beginning of this year, with the series finale and a Treehouse of War and a White Lotus episode and just a lot of gimmicky stuff. But we're a lot of fun. So hopefully we'll be on track with this new episode. So Steve, what do you think the title of season 36, episode 7 is going to be?
Well, Craig, this episode is entitled Mo Letter Blues, which of course is a take on Mo Better Blues, the musical film by Spike Lee. And so I'm going to say that next week's title will also be a Spike Lee inspired title, because of course it would be. So it's going to be titled Cheese Gotta Have It.
Cheese Gotta Have It. Well, Steve, I'll have you know, it's actually titled Treehouse of Horror presents Simpsons Wicked, This Way Comes.
Okay.
So much for a standard Simpsons episode, Steve. We're back to Treehouse of Horror presents. Now, since this is not technically a Treehouse of Horror, I think they should call this Treehouse of Horror 36. That way we can just be on track with the season and Treehouse numbers.
I like your thinking. That would be nice, because it always is so confusing. Like, oh, it's season 35, so that means it's Treehouse 34. So yeah, I like your idea.
And what if we stop calling it Treehouse of Horror and start calling it the Simpsons Halloween Special number 36?
Well, why don't we call it Treehouse of Terror? Because that just makes more alliterative sense, and it always bothers me that it's not that.
And how many times have we actually seen the stories told in Bart's Treehouse?
Once, maybe twice.
And weren't those ones actually the Halloween specials, not Treehouse of Horror?
That's also true, yeah.
You're right. It should just be the Treehouse of Wackiness at this point, I guess. But yeah, Steve, do you want to figure out what this means? Simpsons Wicked This Way Comes? Like, is it 3 stories or is it 1 story? Like, what do you think this title would mean?
Well, you said Wicked Way May Come, and I think that Wicked is like all the rage nowadays, so I think it's 3 terrifying tales told in the world of Oz.
That actually sounds pretty good, Steve.
It could be kind of fun. You know, the Simpsons present the Wizard of Oz, but it's a scary thing, and, you know, Homer could be the Scarecrow, yep, and Gil could be the Tin Man because he has no courage, and Marge would obviously be... Actually, Lisa would be a good Dorothy.
Okay, let's start this real quick. Okay, yeah. Lisa, Dorothy, done. Homer, Cowardly Lion.
Okay, yeah.
Bart, Tin Man? Wait, who doesn't have the brain?
Scarecrow.
So maybe Homer, Scarecrow.
Yeah, I think Homer, Scarecrow. I could see Burns.
He's Oz.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Or Frink.
I mean, actually, he does make a better Oz, but I was thinking that he would be a good Tin Man because he has no heart.
Well, because you have to go back to, like, Wizard of Oz, where all of her family was...
Right, yeah.
So you have to have Lisa. So it has to be Bart, Marge, and... Like, Marge probably be the good witch, right?
Of course, yeah. Yeah, and then Patty or Selma as a wicked witch, maybe.
The wicked witch.
I mean, Agnes would be good, too.
Who's Lisa's enemy?
Francine Grimes.
It's always you want Bart to be the wicked witch.
Ooh, yeah. And then, like, Otto could be a flying monkey.
Or Maggie's are the flying monkeys. Yeah. No, Maggie's Toto. Oh, no, Santa's little helper time. Although maybe if it's Lisa, it'd actually be Snowball, too, would be. All right, well, we're not here to talk about this, Steve. The actual story of Treehouse of Horror presents Simpsons Wicked, This Way Comes, is a tattooed man at a mysterious night circus transports Lisa into 3 strange stories from the innocent 1950s, you know, back when America was great, to the chilling retro present and a brutalist future where prestige TV rules the world. Wow, Kyle, this sounds like my favorite story, Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol.
Ooh, yes.
All right, this is fun, Steve. Surely after this episode, then we'll get to some straight-ass Simpsons adventures.
Yep, just the core family doing what they do best.
You know, this airing a week before, the Sunday before America's Thanksgiving, so it makes sense that we're still in Halloween.
Of course.
But, you know, based on this podcast, we probably will because we still don't know the winner of the Simpsons Man's Halloween costume contest.
That's right.
All right. So hopefully by next week, we can say congratulations to whoever won that contest.
Hopefully.
And the horror of the Simpsons Halloween season will finally be over. All right, Steve. I did have fun this week, and I sure hope you did too.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know if you had fun by emailing us at 13simpsons@gmail.com or contact us on social media like Instagram or YouTube at 13simpsons. We have threads. We have yet to join Blue Sky, but I think like everyone's going to Blue Sky right now, right?
I think that's the next big thing. Yeah, I don't know if I have it in me personally to join another social media site.
Yeah, I don't. I'm kind of off social media. Personally, and it sucks because on this podcast, we're the only people running it, so it's hard for us to like do social media.
Mm-hmm.
We're old. We need a hip young Gen Zer to run our social media for free.
Yeah, because Gen Z, you guys are great.
Yeah, I guess we just need another millennial that cares to run.
Yeah, that's basically it.
The young millennials, like, you know, the kids that were born in 1990 to do it.
Exactly. Those youngins.
Yeah, do that. Anything else they should do?
Yes, they can go to their favorite podcatching app, leave us 5 stars or the equivalent, and
or if you're a fisherman, your favorite codfish.
Yes, your favorite codcast, which would be good if you're casting a line and catch a cod. But and leave us a review, but you don't have to write a real review. Just tell us what Simpsons character you would leave your husband for.
All right, and don't forget to check out our TeePublic site, tpublic.com/user/AnnoyedGruntBoys for your Annoyed Grunt merch. All right, for this week, I've been Annoyed Gruntboy Craig.
And I have been Annoyed Gruntboy Steve.
And remember, what my grandfather saw in your grandfather, I'll never know.
Way to bitch up the conversation, Craig.
再见，永远。